Well, good afternoon, everyone who is joined us today, and those who are still joining. I can see the participant number climbing as we speak. Welcome to Red and Yellow's first webinar of the year. We've got a really exciting session coming up for you in the next minute or two. We're actually just going to give some of the other participants another minute to join, so hang tight, and we'll run through our introductions, our house rules, and how the session will be working. In the meantime, we've got a quick question from Nicola in the chat. Yes, the session will be recorded. You're going to receive a copy of the slide deck as well as the full session um, at a certain point after the session is finished. For those of you who have just joined us, once again, a really warm welcome to the first Red and Yellow webinar of the year. We're so excited to have you here today. And we've got a really exciting session lined up. Before I get into introductions, I'm going to run through just a few house rules and introduce myself. My name's Nick. I'm the head of content here in Red and Yellow. And as I mentioned, we've got a great session lined up. For those of you who are unfamiliar with webinars or to the Zoom platform, please feel free to put your questions into the Q&A function, which you'll find in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. Throughout the webinar, you can post your questions and we'll have a Q&A section at the very end where Sue will be answering your questions with the knowledge that she has. So let's kick things off. We're so thrilled to have you all here for this exciting session on the future of digital marketing and trends and tactics for 2025. As you know, Red and Yellow is all about partnering with you to help future fit your career for the modern age. And today we've got an absolute powerhouse in the industry joining us, someone who has spent over 2 decades shaping the digital landscape and mentoring the next generation of marketers. So your host this afternoon is none other than Sue Little, a digital marketing industry leader with 25 years of experience in digital marketing strategy and implementation. Sue's not just a practitioner, she's also an educator, mentor, and a champion for the digital economy. Sue holds a global MBA in digital business transformation, which means that she understands not just where digital marketing is today, but also where it's headed to the future. Sue's also been teaching for over 12 years and currently leads digital marketing and digital marketing professional online short courses here at Red and Yellow, where she's also hoping to shape the future of digital talent. In addition, Sue is also the head of the IAB South Africa Education Council, where she actively works to develop digital skills and advocate for meaningful inclusion in the industry. So if you are looking for someone who knows how to build impactful digital strategies, craft seamless customer experiences, and mentor the next wave of marketing leaders, you've come to the right place. Sue is going to present the trends and tactics for 2025 when it comes to digital marketing. So without further ado, welcome, Sue. Thank you for hosting our webinar today, and take it away.
Thank you so much, Nick. Hello, everybody. It's so nice to go through the participants list and see some familiar names, not the faces, I get it, but some familiar names there. It's wonderful that you've been able to join us. So these are my top 10 trends and tactics to look out for in 2025 and start getting familiar with. I caveat by saying they're not all here in South Africa, but they will come. And if we plan ahead and be future thinkers, then we will be able to jump on the bandwagon relatively quickly. So without further ado, let's get cracking. Number one trend, not number one in order, but number one on my table right now is artificial intelligence versus uniquely human skills in the workplace. So we know that AI is a tool to enable creativity, not to replace it. So what do I mean by this? And I think we are all already quite familiar as to how we use AI within the work environment. It's changing the workplace, but let's be clear, it's a tool, not a replacement. The most successful professionals and businesses aren't those who use AI to do less, but those who use it to do more, better, and faster. So AI can automate repetitive tasks, it can generate ideas within reason, and they can assist with execution. But what it can't do is think critically. It can't innovate or understand cultural nuances and emotional nuances as well, like a human can. The most valuable skills today are creativity, which we have in leaps and bounds at Red and Yellow, problem solving, which is also your critical thinking skills, storytelling abilities, which South African culture is just filled with, and of course, strategy. These are still uniquely human. And this is where the real divide happens. Some use AI to take shortcuts, churning out very generic, uninspired content or relying on AI to think for them. And that's just lazy AI use. The professionals and businesses and students as well, I call you out, students, I know that you're there, that will be the ones who use AI to enhance their thinking, not replace it. So think about it this way. AI can suggest a concept for an ad, but a human must make it emotionally compelling. AI can write a first draft, but a skilled writer will refine it into something more meaningful. AI can analyze data, heaps of it, but a strategist must interpret insights and make those bold decisions with a critical mind. The future of work isn't AI versus human, it's AI plus humans. Those who master AI as a productivity and a creativity booster will outperform those who use it as a crutch to do the work for them. So the real competitive edge in 2025 is using AI to enable your brilliance, not to execute lazy thinking. And I've seen this as an educator. I see this with brands online because I'm always studying what other brands are doing and trying to reverse engineer what their strategies could be, what their targeting could be, what their messaging is as a digital lecturer. But what I find is that when I mark a paper, for example, it's very apparent who has used AI and who hasn't, because the sentence structure is the same. The word delve comes in. All those Z's that we see in South Africa in the spelling of words should not be there. Don't let AI replace you. Use it as a tool. There's no problem with using it, but make sure that you have the skills and the abilities to refine it as you go along. Sounds fair, right? Okay, trend number two, this is the SEO shakeup. So AI-powered search experiences is changing the game. We don't see this too much yet in South Africa, but it is coming. And for those more knowledge-based queries or search queries, you'll start to see this. So SEO as we know it is being rewritten by AI-powered search. So Google Search Generative Experience, otherwise known as the SGE, and the rise of zero-click searches. Websites are seeing a massive drop in organic traffic because users are getting answers directly from the search engine results pages and not being directed to their sites anymore. So what actually is happening here? Google's AI-generated results summarize answers at the top of search pages. They call it the AI overview. This means fewer users need to visit a website to find the information that they need for the question that they have, or the product or service or whatever it is that they're looking for. And then zero-click searches are increasing. People don't need any more information because it's at the top of Google. They don't need to go to your website where you've written a beautiful blog post on how to choose a stunning holiday in Greece, which is great for a travel business, but they're not going there anymore. The results are in front of them. So a user searches, they find that answer directly in the AI summary and they just never click through. And then traditional SEO is just no longer enough to compensate for this. The new game is what we call your GEO, your generative experience optimization. And that's getting your content featured in AI-generated responses, which are at the top of the search engine. So how do our businesses adapt to prepare for this? Your content must be optimized for AI-driven search. This means you writing very clear, structured, and conversational content that AI can pull into its results. Authority matters more than ever before, because AI favors trusted, expert-driven sources. So brands must focus on very high quality, credible content over keyword stuffing, but particularly for their websites. You want to be diversifying beyond Google. So search isn't just happening on Google anymore, it's happening in AI assistants. People are asking ChatGPT on their phone when they have a question. And sometimes it's smart enough to pull in a link, but in most cases, it just gives you the answers. So people are looking at voice search as well. So your keywords and key phrases must consider how people ask a question verbally, not just write a question in the search fields. And then brands must optimize for multiple discovery channels. And the big key takeaway here for me is that the days of chasing #1 ranking on Google are really fading. And the future of SEO is about showing up in these AI-generated answers, the voice search results, and then the conversational interfaces through the social platforms. And that brands that start pivoting or preparing now for this by focusing on AI-friendly, authoritative, and multi-platform content will dominate the next era of search. It's a big one, and it's really worth starting to delve into it. I'm not AI, but I use the word because we see it everywhere. Okay, let's crack on. Trend number 3, the fight for fair news compensation, big tech versus local media. So for those of you who didn't get the news last week, South Africa media houses, your news publications, your online news publications are really struggling financially as news consumption, as we know, has shifted from print to online. So these big tech platforms extract significant value. This is your Googles, your Metas, your Microsoft. They extract significant value from these news content without adequately compensating the publishers for it. So the digital news landscape is really at a turning point, with regulatory bodies pushing back against the big tech's dominance and over news distribution. So in South Africa, the Competition Commission proposed a digital tariff on companies like Google and Meta and Microsoft that is reflecting a global shift towards ensuring news publications receive fair compensation for their content. And we all want credible news, don't we? We want news that's, we can trust. So the shift from free distribution of news online to paid models is what we're currently seeing. But historically, these news publishers relied on referral traffic from platforms like Google and Meta. So if there was something topical that you're hearing about in the news as you round the water cooler at work, you might go onto Google and search for news articles, up pop News 24, or a lot of news could be searched on Twitter. But because of these new AI search results and zero-click search, there is declining traffic, and the algorithms of these platforms are deprioritizing, and this is impacting the revenue streams of these news sites. So these regulatory bodies, in our case, it's the South African Competition Commission, are demanding a financial compensation from digital platforms that extract value from news content without adequately rewarding the media houses for that content. And they're proposing an introduction of a potential 5 to 10% digital tariff, which would ensure that tech giants contribute to a media industry fund, which supports local journalism. But the tariff is only proposed if initial negotiations fail. They've put forward a report based on, I think, 18 months or 16 months of research. And the requests that the Competition Commission have called for from these tech giants are changes to Google and Meta's algorithms to prevent overrepresentation of international media and ensure local publishers, including vernacular and community media, gain greater visibility in their results pages. And then this move aligns with global efforts to reshape how AI-powered search and social feeds rank display news content. So potentially forcing SEO and digital marketing strategies to evolve, which was the point that I raised in the previous slide. So there's also the role of AI in news distribution, and there's a question around ethics and responsibility. So these AI-powered tools, Google, OpenAI, Microsoft, are increasingly surfacing news content without directing these users to the publisher sites, which is, as I said, diminishing their revenue. And they're pushing for these AI models to take accountability and to work with them so as not to divert traffic away from the original source, but to direct people there. So what does this mean? What could this mean if, for marketers and content creators? So owned media channels will become even more critical. So things like your website, your email, CRM databases, and referral traffic from social media is also declining. And search platforms potentially are undergoing regulatory changes. These brands and publishers must prioritize your email lists, community engagement, and direct website visits over reliance on these third-party platforms to get people to your site. So these AI-driven content strategies must also factor in regulatory shifts. So if the algorithms change to favor local and community-driven content, SEO and digital advertising strategies will also need to adapt to these new ranking dynamics. And then advertisers, so those are your brands and your businesses, may face increased costs because Google and Meta are forced to share a greater portion of advertising revenue with the news publishers. Then brands running paid campaigns on those platforms could see the price adjustments reflected back onto them. Interesting times. Let's see what happens. So I just wanted to find a little bit more about you. I'm going to ask Kat to put up a quick poll to see who's with us and how you are using these new trends and tactics today. So if you don't mind, I would love just to give it a go. Let's learn a bit more about you. I'm going to give you a minute. Wow, very interesting. I can see the results on my side, so I'll let you know shortly. Great stuff. Thanks, everybody. 70% of you, and rising, are participating. So that's awesome. So yeah, let's share the results. So as you can see, leveraging AI to automate your administrative work is the obvious choice. And it makes it so much more accessible because we can do this. And ways you can do this is using custom GPTs. These are things that you would need to learn about to create little bots that help you with your day-to-day role. So whether it's analyzing data, whether it's pulling in reporting information, and even being a little private little personal secretary to do things for you. And then leveraging AI to automate research. So this is so beneficial, and it's so easy to do with a simple AI tool, like whether it's ChatGPT, because you can take the data, or you can take these long research documents and give the information to the AI tools that you're using and ask them to digest it, to summarize it, or to do research for you. But what's imperative to note here, going back to trend number 1, don't let AI take away your role. Your role is to now take the summaries that it has given you and use that and use your human insights to make magic in your strategies moving forward with real useful data. Thank you so much for taking part. Right, let's crack on. The death of social referral traffic. Okay, so I've had a number of students. When I say students, my students are working professionals, so they work for small businesses, and some work for big corporates or agencies, and they've been asking me, what's going on with my social traffic from my website? It's not happening. So this is what's happening, is that for years, social media was a goldmine for referral traffic. Brands and publishers could post a link and watch the clicks roll on in, and that era is over. So Meta has now deprioritized links. The algorithm, as we know, Instagram never really had links unless you use paid ads. But the algorithm now favors video and engagement-based content, meaning link posts barely gain any traction. That would be talking to your Facebook or your messengers. So if you have a massive following, your referral traffic is likely declining. And Google's search generative experience, which we spoke about in the previous trend, is making things even harder because their AI-generated answers keep users on Google, which is reducing the need to click through to external sites. So Meta's now shifting, and Facebook and Instagram are now deprioritizing this. And we're seeing even consumer attention is staying on these social media platforms because there's no need to link out. And so what it requires marketers and content creators to think of is that you can't rely on social and search to send traffic to your site anymore. So brands that don't own their audiences are at the mercy of algorithms, and the solutions is to invest in your owned media channels. So email marketing and first-party data collection. Your email list, email's not dead. We keep saying it every year. You might not read a lot of emails in your mailbox, but some do get through. Not just talking about through the spam filters, some do capture your attention. So as a brand and a business, your email list isn't affected by an algorithm change, and it shouldn't be because it's your platform, it's your data about your customers. And they've given you access to that data and the permission to contact them. Assumingly, if they haven't, then no, that's naughty. All right, so private communities like WhatsApp, even Discord, are platforms where you control the reach and engagement for your brand. And SEO and content designed for retention, keeping customers coming back to you, get users to your site and keep them returning, keep them referring their friends, their family, and that's never going to change. Word of mouth marketing is still the most powerful form of advertising. I've been saying that for decades, and it still remains true. So does this mean brands should abandon social? No, but it does mean that the purpose of social media has changed. It's no longer a traffic driver unless you are sending ads to your site, right? But we know ads cost money. We also know that on most of these platforms, it's a visibility and engagement tool. So the brands that adapt now to creating content that gets visibility, that gets engagement, are shifting their strategies towards audience ownership. And those are the brands that will thrive in the long run. So getting those email addresses, getting those subscriptions, if you've got a CRM system, and keeping people within your owned media communities and being able to reach them because you've got engaging content and content that is really tailored to them, which takes me now to trend number 5. So you want to be leveraging hyper-segmentation. And I don't just mean segmentation, but really laser-focused messaging to cut through the noise in this very cluttered creator economy. Everybody and their dog is creating content in this day and age, and we get sucked in. Some of the biggest competitors to broadcasters are social media platforms because it's taking our attention from watching television as we used to or listening to the radio, but now glued to our mobile devices. And it's been like this for a while, but it's only increasing. So consumers today are now drowning also in digital noise because everyone is creating content. And the brands that win aren't the ones that shout the loudest. They're the ones that speak directly to the individual with the right message at the right time. And that's where hyper-segmentation comes in. So in the past, we relied on very broad demographics, women aged between 25 and 40, interested in fitness. That's not enough anymore. I mean, you'll still need that if you're doing any paid media, because those are the segmentation fields, the demographics and the psychographics that you will load into your paid media platforms. But AI-driven micro-segmentation allows us to cluster audiences by real-time behaviors, as well as purchase intent. What is it that they're wanting now? And then content engagement, who's engaging on what, and then even emotional triggers. So with laser-focused messaging, we can now tailor ad copy, email sequences, so automate your email, If someone replies, it can be automated. You can automate your entire sales funnel on email. And then any product recommendations for each segment. So if you've got a reliable testimonial from a previous customer, a legitimate one, please, we want to be authentic, then you can bring that in depending on who the targeted audience is that you're speaking to. So for example, showing a testimonial, if you're speaking to moms of children under 3, having a testimonial from a mom with young kids is going to speak to them. It's going to relate to them. It feels authentic. So instead of generic campaigns for moms, we can serve new moms looking to do home workouts. You can get into that nitty-gritty in a little bit more detail. Another example of that in this hyper-segmentation is that, for example, you might sell a home loan, and you can have different buyer personas, but you can have a buyer persona who earns a certain income bracket, and then further niche segment that down to a buyer persona who has a certain income bracket, but has a bad credit score. What can they do to get that home loan, right? That's not going to appeal to someone who doesn't have a good credit score, but they still need the home loan and they still have the same amount of money. So creating content for those two hyper niche audiences will be the same content, but slightly different keywords and key phrases that allow you to have content that really your audience, your niche audience, the hyper segmented audience can relate to. It speaks to them, and they are more likely to convert later on. Automation, obviously with AI, that's the world of AI we are in, makes this quite scalable. So you've got AI-powered dynamic content, a website, email, or an ad campaign can change based on what a user has previously searched, what they've purchased, or what they've engaged with in the past. Obviously, retargeting plays into that as well. But it's no longer this one size fits all, or it's rather like just for you, okay? It's just for you marketing at scale. You can also, and I'm getting deep here, so predictive analytics is taking segmentation even further. AI can now anticipate customer needs before they even express them, helping brands serve that hyper-relevant product suggestions, content, and any offers that you might have. And it's not just about selling, it's about engagement. So interactive tools, I mean, I don't know about you, but if I'm scrolling through Instagram and they're trying to sell me a digital product like an app, and they'll say, we're looking for women of this age who have small children to take this little quiz. And we take the little quiz because the quiz is free, and then it tells us what buyer persona we are. We won't know that, but the brand is putting us in a little hyper segmentation, and they've gathered this data because the quiz spat out an answer that we, the user, found relevant or interesting. And now we can use chatbots and any tailored recommendation engines to make this marketing communication feel like advertising, feel less like advertising and more like general conversation that feels more natural. So at the end of the day, personalization isn't a nice to have anymore. It's the expectation from the end user. And the brands that master this hyper segmentation will see higher engagement, stronger conversions, and then deeper customer loyalty, because when people feel like you get them, you understand their needs, they're far more likely to buy. Right, trend number 6. Speaking about being relevant, raw, real, and relatable, organic, authentic, human-centered video content wins. The content marketing game, as we know, has changed to this short form vertical video content. Yes, there is some long form. I'm not taking away from that at all. But what I'm going to beg, if you are a content creator of any way, shape, or form, drop the ChatGPT content marketing fluff factory. AI content isn't winning. It's not. AI is great for research and data analysis, but content relies on human insight and observation for that originality. And audiences want this unscripted content in an era of mis, dis, and malinformation. So people are increasingly drawn to very candid, long-form storytelling. But then also you can have conversational podcasts and live streams if you were going to go the long-form route. But then when it comes back to your short form content, AI is also incredibly powerful there. It can summarize, analyze, and even generate content at lightning speed. But here's the reality: AI generated content is not winning. As I said, it's not winning. So why is this happening? Why, we can use it to be more efficient, but content that really resonates, that stops someone mid-scroll, sparks an emotion, and drives action, requires that human insight, that real experience, and that creative storytelling. So AI can replicate the patterns, but it will all sound the same if you don't review it and you don't make sure that you are the lead here. You want to tap into your cultural nuances, because AI can't do that. You want to tell a story that really feels truly personal, and you can do that if you have the experience of your target audience, or based on the research that you've done. So what I mean also by raw and real organic video content, well, we've seen a lot happening in the micro and nano influencer space. This is just regular people, having at-home cameras or a selfie, talking directly to their audiences. And audiences crave content that feels real. It's not robotic. And that's why organic, human-driven video content, whether it's a casual iPhone video or a little candid explainer or a customer testimonial, it outperforms AI-generated and very overly scripted content, which sounds like everybody else. As I mentioned before, does this mean that AI is useless in content creation? No, AI should be used as a research and efficiency tool to help you brainstorm ideas. But you need to take the data that it organizes and build that final creative execution. It must remain human-led. So the future of short-form video content, or even just video content in general, belongs to brands that embrace the AI for efficiency, but put human creativity, relatability, and storytelling at the very core of their content. Because at the end of the day, people don't connect with algorithms, they connect with people, and we must never forget that. Righto, trend number 7. From one-off to always on, the rise of long-term brand and influencer partnerships. I think influence has always been a trend, but it changes all the time. And it's been so fascinating to watch this industry evolve as it has over the past couple of decades. So one-off influencer posts used to be enough, right? But today, and when I say branded influencer posts, but today consumers see right through that transactional short-term brand deal. And the shift is now brands are moving towards long-term partnerships where influencers become true brand ambassadors. And we've been saying this for years, but because the creator economy has completely taken off and brands are now leaning into it, I just need to come back and remind you that the long-term relationships really have more of an impact, because trust is built over time. So seeing the same creator consistently engaging with the brand makes it feel like a real genuine recommendation. They are an ambassador for your brand. They advocate on your behalf, instead of it coming across as a paid promotion. And it may be, and that's fine. But we're smart enough as consumers to realize that if the influencer keeps coming back, they've got to get paid. We understand influencers need to get paid. We are humans. No one creates content for free anymore because it takes time. But we want to trust that our influencers that we follow as users only work with brands consistently that they trust. And this results in much higher engagement, stronger credibility, and just much better conversions. And I'll give you an example of one brand that really stands out for me as a woman. I'm a huge fan of Clarins, and the only reason why I ever dovetailed from my previous skincare to Clarins was because of Rachel Khaleesi. And obviously she's like the queen of South Africa. And I follow her content. She's lovable, she's relatable, she's authentic, and she advocates for Clarins. And it's obvious it's a brand collaboration. There is definitely a paid relationship there. I get it. But I see her skin, I trust her, and so on. And it was easy for me to shift. So think about the brands that really resonate with you and who they're working with. And then do the same for the influencers. Which influencers resonate with you, that you've looked at what they're promoting and gone, I'm not sure sure if I agree with that, doesn't feel authentic, versus those that you feel can legitimately come together as a real relationship. And then let's talk about micro and nano influencers. They are also leading the shift. So instead of spending big on a single celebrity, brands are also tapping into these smaller, highly engaged creators who have very loyal but niche audiences that actually listen, like really pay attention. And this again speaks to that hyper-segmentation, targeting and creation of your raw, real content, is that niche and micro and nano influencers, they don't have big budgets, production budgets. They have real, honest selfie videos, and they talk about things and they build that trust. So they don't just post and go away, these nano influencers. They create these conversations and they foster their community. And that's what really, really drives big impact for their audiences and for the brands that they work with. So brands are focusing on this community-driven engagement rather than just reach and brand awareness. It's not about how many followers an influencer has, but how deep they connect with their audience. So a TikTok creator, maybe with 15,000 engaged followers, is often way more valuable than a celebrity with 1 million passive viewers who just they follow because everyone else does, right? And I'll echo this again. It's very easy for influencers, particularly on TikTok, to gain views on their videos because they've paid for those views. But that's why you check the engagement. So if you're a brand that is looking, okay, which influencers do we want to work with, whether they're nano, micro, macro, mega influencers, either way, you go to how many followers they have. That's a vanity metric. It doesn't mean that their content will be seen in your newsfeed. We all know if we open up Instagram or TikTok, we don't see content from the people that we actually follow anymore. Okay. Both of these big platforms in South Africa are serving us content that I think we'll be interested in. That's how we discover new people. So what matters here is the people who are engaging with a particular influencer's content. You will see more of their content coming in because you keep engaging. So again, engagement is key when it comes to working with influencers. Look at the engagement stats rather than how many views they got in previous videos and how many followers they have. Engagement stats are so, so important. And then finally, consistency is key. So your long-term influencer partnerships allow brands to build this narrative over multiple touch points and then reinforcing the credibility and the trust that they have in that brand. Trend number 8. So hyper-targeted upselling and cross-selling drive bigger carts. So it's not just a sale. When someone buys a product of yours online, there is power and precision in e-commerce. And this was quite a relatively new concept to me. And then when I thought about it, I was like, oh, I get stuck in this all the time. So what I mean by this is that consumers today, we are much more swayable than when an upsell or a cross-sell is highly relevant to our needs, right? And then that speaks to hyper-segmentation as well. So AI-driven personalization means we can now predict what a shopper is most likely to want next before they even realize it themselves. So you buy a keyboard, right? Or a monitor for your new workspace. You haven't thought about a mouse pad or a desk pad. You might even not need one, but we all like to buy things that go together. And those brands that serve that to us are the ones that are winning. So we call it smart bundling. Okay, it's an easy win. So buy a laptop, get a laptop bag and a wireless mouse for 20% off. So you can have a little incentive with it. And oh, you've bought this, you might like this. So this is not only increases a cart size, but enhances the user experience by offering something really meaningful. And then there's AI-powered recommendations. When a shopper adds an item to their cart, we can show them complementary products. And we see a lot of this already. But then the checkout moment is crucial. So right when a user is in buying mode and they are ready to purchase, they've done their consideration, they've evaluated you against your competitors, they are now at checkout, they're looking at their cart. When a user is in this buying mode, you want to offer an upgrade. Want the pro version for just 200 Rand or more? Add extended warranty protection now. I mean, think about this and how often you see it. and start looking at ways that you can bring this into your brands and businesses if you're not doing it already. Because these real well-timed nudges, they convert at a very high rate because they're presented when the shopper is already committed to spending. Another thing you can do, and it's, I mean, if you look at a website like One Day Only, they leverage this tactic all the time, which is urgency. You can only buy this within 24 hours. Then it's gone, or the sale is gone. So urgency amplifies conversion. So you can offer a limited time deal and add this to your order in the next 10 minutes for 15% off. This creates FOMO, and it makes shoppers more likely to take action immediately. But be warned, it can also have a negative effect where it does the polar opposite. And someone's like, oh my gosh, you're trying to upsell me too much. And then they leave. So always keep an eye on that. How many people leave their carts when you start serving this to them? So make sure it is done with very well-grounded research and A/B testing to optimize the campaigns and what you show in the future. And then finally, social proof is a game changer. People trust what others buy. Showing messages like 80% of customers also purchase this, or highly rated by 5,000 plus buyers. It reinforces the decision to spend more money. So in short, your upselling and your cross-selling aren't just about purchasing extra products. They're about understanding your customer's intent and making the next best suggestion feel like a very natural choice. And when the offer is personalized like this, it's relevant, it's timely, the shopper isn't just willing to spend more, they actually feel like they're making a smarter purchase to do it all in one go. Trend number 9. Oh, no, wait, we've got a poll. Let's do a quick poll. Let's get going. Let's see who's still with us. It's almost the end of lunch break. I'm fascinated by the last one where 10 people say they don't engage with anything on social media. You are so lucky you're not as addicted like the rest of us. All right. Okay, I think let's show the results. Sorry if those of you are just still going. Okay, so as expected, your main feed and your For You page is so tailored to your psychographics rather than the people that you follow. And those of us that have realized that engaging with stories, for example, on your Instagram or even on Facebook, are where you get to see the people that you actually follow. Because your explore feeds and your main feeds are now people that you don't know, and it's all about content that you're interested in. So great, thank you for participating. All 237 of you that managed to get it in. Okay, we are now on number 9. So I'm just going to close the poll on my side. So AI-powered lead magnets. This is very new, and it's probably not very new, but it's probably not really thought about, because creating what we call custom GPTs to attract an audience or convert an audience hasn't really been thought about in that way. So what do I mean by this? As we know, AI isn't just something businesses can use, it's something that they can sell too. So what's this next big opportunity? It's this very low cost, doesn't have to be, but as a lead magnet it should, because it's not, we're using it as a lead magnet to sell you our product later on. It's a little hook to get you to give us your email address so that we can build our database and get your first party data, because of all the other trends that I've mentioned previously and why that's important. So this big opportunity is this, your low cost niche GPTs that businesses can create and monetize while attracting customers. So, think of a personal trainer. Instead of creating endless custom workout plans, they could sell a GPT-powered workout creator that helps their clients design routines based on their fitness goals. And the GPT doesn't just provide value, it also recommends the trainers paid coaching services, branded supplements, or any premium training plans that they might offer. Can also link out to the website to go view things, but it's a very useful tool at a very low cost. So when I say low cost, I mean 10 Rand, $1, you know, something really simple, because it should be easy to use, and it's that economies of scale. You want more people using it because it's going to act like a little promotional platform in somebody's pocket about your brands. So this model can work across industries. So a nutritionist could sell I guess for me, it's quite in the B2P space initially, and in the service industry, or for any small businesses. So a nutritionist or a coach could sell a GPT that generates personalized meal plans while promoting their coaching services. Because you might find that, oh, I'll just buy this GPT for 10 Rand or $1, and it's cheaper, it's an easy win. And then they start using it and they realize, oh, I want to go deeper. And then that's when they call the nutritionist or the personal trainer. Another example is a real estate agent could offer a home buying advisor, GPT, that walks users through property investment while capturing leads for consultations. A marketing agency could create a social media post generator that gives users content ideas with an option to hire the agency for full-scale strategy. You might think, okay, well, they can do that already with ChatGPT. They can, but they don't know how to prompt. Most people are not prompt engineers, and they might not have the paid version of these AI tools as well. So why is this so powerful? It's scalable, it's low cost to produce, it's a once-off build, and a GPT can be sold repeatedly. It serves as an automated lead magnet. As I said, you want to be driving those email subscriptions, and it brings in customers while subtly promoting your services. And it creates this new revenue stream while positioning your business as an industry leader. And the key here is to make the GPT valuable to the user so that they want to buy it. People won't pay for generic AI responses, but they will for a specialized, expert-driven AI assistant tailored to their needs, that is already filled with information that is specific to that niche. So in 2025, I see that businesses that embrace AI as a product rather than just a tool will also unlock new ways to attract, to engage, and obviously finally to convert your customers, all while generating a passive income. And finally, to end us off, we've got trend number 10, always on, always closing. Chatbots are accelerating the sales cycle. Now, we have all seen chatbots, right? We know that they exist. Some irritate us, some are really good and helpful, but speed matters in sales. So the longer a potential customer waits for answers, we expect immediacy at customers, right? We want answers quickly. Otherwise, we get distracted by the next shiny object that captures our attention, whether it's the next video in our feed, or it's an email that's popped up, or my phone has beeped and there's a message, and then we forget what we were trying to buy or thinking about buying. So the longer a potential customer waits for answers, the more likely they're going to abandon the process completely. So enter the AI chatbots, which are your 24/7 digital sales assistants that keep prospects engaged. They keep them nurtured and moving towards a purchase. And I wanted to ask you now, moving forward, to when you land on a website for a service that you might be interested, or you're doing some research by something that you want to buy, and you see a chatbot pop on a website, or WhatsApp is a bit different because you go there with an intention to engage with that chatbot. I'm talking about the times when you're going into a website for information and browsing, or looking at clothes, looking at skincare, whatever it may be, and a chatbot asks you if they can help you. It's like going into a shop and the sales assistant is like, hi, can I help you? And you're like, no, I'm just browsing. You will still get that feeling, right? They're watching me. The chatbot is there to answer your questions. So the evaluation and consideration stages of the sales funnel, when people are thinking about buying your product, they are considering you, and then they're also evaluating you against your competitor. These stages of the buyer journey are where customers or potential customers have the most questions about pricing, about features, compatibility, quality, payment options, depending on the price point of that product. And in the past, they'd submit a form and wait for a reply a few days or a few minutes or whatever. Now a smart chatbot provides answers instantly, keeping momentum high. And you can say, well, I've put all this information on my website. But one thing that I've learned in my lifetime is that people don't read. They like to be spoon-fed, and chatbots give them that. The chatbot is probably taking all the information from the website and spoon-feeding them to give them exactly what they need. So why does this work? Because today's consumer expects that immediacy. If they can't get information, they'll find your competitor who can provide it faster. And their chatbots aren't just answering questions, they're selling. They can recommend products based on what the customer is browsing for. They can handle objections like, do you have a payment plan, right? And they haven't read that on the page or they haven't seen it. Chatbots can guide directly to a checkout or book a demo with a real estate rep or a skincare specialist, someone that's a human, and so on. And even better, they can pre-qualify your leads instead of sales teams wasting time on cold leads. Chatbots filter out all your unqualified prospects and pass high-intent buyers to human agents. So this isn't just about automation, it's about acceleration and shorter response times, shorter sales cycle equal more conversions. And the brands winning in 2025 aren't just using chatbots for customer service, they're using them as full-fledged sales closers or lead generators, turning your browsers and buyers 24/7, day and night, whenever people are purchasing. Thank you so much for joining us today. It has been wonderful, and I hope you've gleaned a lot and learned a lot. If Nick is there, if we've got any questions, burning questions, do let us know.
All right, first of all, a really, really big thank you to Sue. We've got about 8 minutes left and we've got a lot of questions in the chat. So we're going to do our very best to get through as many as possible. I'm going to go chronologically. And Sue, if you wouldn't mind, some nice short answers so we can try and get through as many queries as possible. So the first question we have is, what is the importance of creativity on a marketing campaign and how can someone increase that skill?
So that's going back to what I mentioned in the very first trend. So when you watch the recording, go back to that. You know, AI can only regurgitate what is already existing. And I think because I am seeing this as futuristic trends, which is why it always comes back to AI. But creativity is the ability to find innovative solutions for brands to capture the attention of their target audience. And if you just provide stock standard copy paste ideas, you're going to not get the results that you want because you're not going to stand out from the clutter. So in order to build on that skill, which is so important for 2025 and beyond, it's what makes us human is creative thinking. I encourage you to learn different brainstorming techniques or creative thinking ideation tools. There are so many out there. I know Red and Yellow, I know this is more digital marketing, but there's a creative thinking short course that just unpacks all of these different methodologies to elicit a really creative idea. I learned a lot about them in my MBA. It was really fascinating, particularly with a tech lens. Okay, that's my short answer. Sorry.
Great. AI being integrated into search could be a threat to modern SEO, as well as many brands' website traffic, etc. I'd like to know your take on how things like Gemini is going to impact websites, web traffic, advertising, etc., which I also think you dealt with in your point about media houses.
Yes, I think, look, I mean, I'm not going to just stick to one tool, but it's an unknown. And, you know, I can also admit that it's an unknown because I don't think the search engines like Gemini's or the AI search bots, they don't have a way to monetize search results yet using this AI search. So I think it's just about staying on the pulse of what is happening because it is happening overseas. It is happening internationally. It's rolling out slowly. So it's about being aware of it and trying to plan ahead and not be the laggard, right? You don't want to be the late adopter. Okay, next one.
Well, next one is a question from Nina, who's asking, which AI platforms or tools should we be mastering to gain a competitive edge?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. It depends what your industry is, and it depends what I guess what it is that you do. It's a very hard one to answer. I think platforms that are free are where you need to start before you invest in something too heavily. Like focus less on the tool itself, but how to get most out of the tool that you need to use. So if you're a graphic designer and you want to mock up ideas using Midjourney or DALL-E or any of the other design AI tools, that's what you need to start practicing, right? So if you are a copywriter, you should not need AI to do copy for you because you have the skills to do it. You should be critiquing it. So it's about making sure that you can test a tool and learn how to use it properly and learn how prompt engineering works, because you can't just ask a question anymore. You have to give it the information. Or if you ask a question, because they're actually getting rather clever, when it gives you answers, you need to have the critical thinking skills to be able to critique the answers, because sometimes they're wrong. And I'll give you an example of this. Now, obviously, I use ChatGPT all the time to get ideas. And one of the things that it served me in the results is that social media shopping is going to take over South Africa. That was wrong, because those of us in retail, I'm not in retail, but those working in retail know you can't sell. There's no social commerce currently on TikTok. There's no TikTok shop in South Africa. It exists globally. Meta took away social media shopping, social commerce from Instagram. I think it was in 2023. Yes, you can sell via paid ads, but that whole having your community social platform as a shop is not there. But ChatGPT didn't know that, and I was able to review the results and go, no, I'm going to set that one aside. Next. Got 3 minutes left.
All right, 3 minutes. Our next question reads, there's still a massive gap in process and understanding and technical knowledge, as well as best practice for the process of planning campaigns. For example, large to small agencies and companies will design an ad or a post before they know the goal or the objective of the campaign. Often, even award-winning campaigns and agencies don't have the analytics set up correctly before running the campaign. Is there anything being done through education to give as much respect to the technical aspects of tracking, setup, as well as the actual process of how to structure the planning of a campaign?
You should ask. Okay, so I'm a side note, because I'm going to make this the last one, because this is a really important topic. So in South Africa, we have these, what we call these occupational qualifications, and they are created following a certain structure that was given to us by these governing bodies, basically. And the information that they gave us for advertising was last reviewed, I think maybe like 2009. And myself, the IAB members, so very like knowledgeable experts in the industry, and as well as Red and Yellow's content team, we actually worked together to redevelop this qualification to make it become more relevant to the advertising industry. This new qualification launches, I think, in 2026. And you see it, you can see the structure online. You can just go to the SAQA website or send us an email, we'll share it with you. But you'll see that the structure of the modules follows work in the agency system. So how it goes from client all the way to reporting. And in between is all the important stuff. This is vital. I must end and say, you have to have the foundations in digital marketing before you can do anything of what I've said. So I hope I've encouraged you to want to really dive into digital marketing if you haven't already and learn more. And to answer that person's question, there's a model that I've created because I felt like it meant something to me when I could see it visually, and it's called the digital ecosystem. And we use that term often, but the way it's mapped out demonstrates a visual that demonstrates how your campaign works to take a user on a journey across the whatever platforms and channels and tactics you want to use to get them from brand awareness when they first become aware to consideration, evaluation, and then finally to convert and retain as a loyal customer. And this visual for me is a game changer in understanding and creating that foundation that people can go, oh, I get it now. they understand. If you have that map, then you know what to do for your campaigns. You have to consider the map. And it's the very first tutorial that I teach in our digital marketing flagship short course, the 10-week short course. The very first tutorial I teach, I'll take you through that if you want to do it. It's a brilliant course to build those foundations.
Right, and on that note, we are unfortunately out of time. We can't get to the remaining questions, but thank you everyone for participating. Thank you for joining us for this Red and Yellow webinar, and a huge, huge thank you to Sue for presenting these really practical and helpful and incredible tips, tools, and tactics for digital marketing in 2025. If you do have any questions about what Red and Yellow can offer in terms of your digital marketing journey, you'll see on the screen, we do offer a range of online short courses, online qualifications, and more. So feel free to get in touch with us. Our WhatsApp number is on the screen. And look forward to the next Red and Yellow webinar, which will be coming your way next month. As a last note, we are sending the full webinar to the email address you would have registered with, as well as a content pack so that you can up your digital marketing game. Thanks, everyone, and have a great afternoon.